Welcome back to Matt's Investing Corner. We've had a number of interesting weeks behind us, whereby the market went downwards due to a number of political events. And this is what I want to talk you through in the next coming video and basically explain what I'm seeing and how I see the next coming months as a long-term investor, and also to help beginning investors not to stress out too much. What you can see here in front of you is basically a number of indices of the last 5 days. I have the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, and the DAX, the CAC 40. The lower three are the European ones. What you can clearly see is that the market is in some sort of downward trend. There's a lot of negative news coming out. There's a lot of uncertainty. And this is something not good for the investing climate. And that's something that you can clearly see. What was interesting in the last couple of days is that the European markets in the last 2 weeks or so were doing relatively well, in contrary to the US markets. Whereas in the last week, basically, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq continued to go downwards. And that's something that obviously, if you're invested in the US market, you will feel in your portfolio. And I really hope that a lot of stop losses have helped you from making a big loss. In terms of the European markets, they were being influenced as well by the US market and the overall sentiment. And especially I want to talk you through a bit what I'm seeing in the last week or so. So one of the things is that I want to go back to the fear and greed index. What you can see here is that the latest on the Friday, it was on a 20 radar. So that's still the extreme fear. And what you can see in the last couple of weeks is that we have been going down, and we even had a 17, I believe, on Tuesday or Wednesday. And on Thursday, Friday, it went slightly up again to 18.20, I believe. But you can definitely see that there's a lot of fear and uncertainty in the market. And basically that is driving the market downwards now. What I can tell you is that these kind of low number of extreme fear can never last that long. At a certain moment, it will go up. And that's what you can see as well in this graph of the timeline of the fear and greed index, is that yes, you have certain dips, but they are not that long lasting. They will go up again. And this is my expectation in the next coming weeks as well, that it will go up in the next coming days or weeks or so. So what was happening in the last week or so? Well, obviously we had tariffs. Big tariffs were in the news. The US administration with Trump are imposing tariffs on Canada, on Mexico, on Europe, on China. And this is, of course, giving a lot of uncertainty in the market. And that's something that the indices are not liking. And a lot of uncertainty in the market means that the market goes down. And that's something obviously not that positive. What you did see is that Trump had to postpone some of these tariffs after he had talks with Mexico or with the Canada government. And what you could see on Friday, that suddenly it bounces a bit up because the tariffs are being delayed or postponed. What that has an impact for Europe, well, Europe is highly influenced as well by the US market. And obviously the US market is having such an impact on European companies that the European companies are basically dragged down as well, especially if the market is if it goes in such a big numbers. If you see some of the big companies that they reported recently their earnings, and they were very well, but actually the market whole sentiment, there's a lot of fear and uncertainty there. So yeah, the market goes down. So what you do see is that European Union is more and more realizing that they need to step more and more on their own. They're coming with a stimulus package and an own defense package and all that stuff. And this is something I believe very good for European shares, and that has been seen in some of the European stocks as well, that they were going up. Recently, we had in the last week, we had 3 big companies coming out, Broadcom, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, each having quite good numbers with positive outlook. However, the market is in a negative spiral. Some of them were able to keep up their levels, but there were a lot of US stocks that went down significantly. So last week we had a number of companies coming out. I would say not the biggest names in the market that were presenting their earnings. The ones that were relatively interesting for me, at least, were the ones that were, in my eyes, were Zscaler, a security company, Rigetti, that is basically the quantum computing, and Broadcom with the semiconductors. Each 3 of them presented very good numbers, but the market was just going down. So if I just go 1 week further, that's the upcoming week, so Monday 10th till Friday, I don't see really big names. All the big names have already presented their numbers. I don't think these companies are going to shift the market in a different direction. I believe now that a number of these tariffs have been postponed, and I think also a correction once in a while is happening. And this is something that I would like to show you with the next graph as well. What you can see here is the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And basically this is what you can see, the graphs of the last 2 years. And as you can see, it has been going both in if you put a sort of trend line on it, has been going up steadily over time. And once in a while, yes, there is a sort of correction downwards. But in general, I believe the trend is still there to go upwards, and this is something applies for both indices. And once in a while, it hits the low, and I believe these are just great moments whereby you can step in and buy shares for a very nice discounted price. I do have to say that, especially with the Nasdaq here, you can see that it's almost hitting a lower end of this underlying sort of support. Needs to be seen how this is going further, but all in all, I believe there's still a lot of potential in the market whereby now you can buy fantastic companies like Meta or Microsoft or Amazon with a very nice discount, and this is something that also in the semiconductor industry with Nvidia, with ASML, with Broadcom, you have a number of stocks that have been basically punished in the last couple of weeks going down. It can be super interesting to step in. So that's my view of it, that there's a lot of upside in the next coming weeks, that there's might be a rebound going up, but in general, be careful. Keep a good eye on your investments. Just on the last one, these are just some graphs of Alphabet, or Meta, Tesla. You can see they all have been quite going down in the last couple of weeks, and this, in my eyes, it opens up opportunities to buy stocks that were in the last months rather high priced. You can now get at the lower price. Especially if you're a long-term investor, I believe this is just a great opportunity to buy them at a much lower price as what they were in the last couple of months. So thank you for watching. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.